Okay, so unless you've been living under a rock, you're probably aware that the highly anticipated and highly controversial June content update for Ready or Not just got released. That's right, as of June 29th, you can get your hands on up to 6 new guns, 2 new maps, and an AI overhaul, as well as much more. To start off with, we're going to take a little look at the new weapons available to every edition of the game, starting with the MP5A3. In the latest Ready or Not patch, we have 2 versions of the MP5A3. One that fires 10mm rounds, and another that fires the standard 9mm round. The 10mm MP5 variant comes with 3 fire modes to choose from. You've got single shot, 3 round burst, and fully automatic. And just like with all the other guns in Ready or Not, you can slap a suppressor on the MP5A3, whether that be the 10mm variant or the 9mm variant, and use all the aforementioned fire modes. The next new gun up on the list is the MP9, which can be used in fully automatic or semi-automatic to hit those more accurate shots. And just like the MP5 before it, you can slap a suppressor on this thing and use it with all the aforementioned fire modes. Next on the list is the MP5A3 9mm variant. This can be fired in semi-automatic and fully automatic. The 9mm MP5A3 looks and feels just like the 10mm version, with the only difference being the fire modes. Moving on to the first of the 2 new maps, we come to the nightclub level. Now this has been pretty controversial for obviously what the game depicts. It's a nightclub shooting, but the visuals and the lighting, everything to do with this level looks fantastic if you just consider it as a level in a first-person shooter game. Pushing into this corridor here, we can see the first change, which is this neon sign. It says neon now, instead of what it previously said prior to the trademark dispute, where they used the Prism logo from the famous nightclub in the UK. We can see there it says Prism, and it's now been changed to neon. That's the first huge change we can see in this level. Moving up here, we see the neon poster has been changed. It previously said Prism. This had to be changed after the trademark dispute as well. You can see there it says Prism, and it's now been changed back to neon. Moving up these stairs here as we progress in the nightclub, you're going to see some absolutely shocking gameplay from me, but some really interesting AI work here. So I'm going to turn this corner and immediately be greeted by a bad guy. Now you can see me spamming shots over and over again, and one of those shots there, if you go back and rewind it, actually hit his leg and sort of throw him off balance. I'll put that on the screen now. You can see it throw him right off balance, and it forces him to pause for a second, stop shooting, and regain his balance before he can get back on target. That's a really interesting change with the AI, and you can see just how many shots I'm missing and hitting. The body armor actually working here as well for the AI, and not just your teammates and you, the player. Now again, as we move deeper into the club here, we're on the dance floor. Don't be expecting any good gameplay from me, but you can see the changes to the AI. So we spot an AI here, and instead of just running head on at me like he used to, he backs off and finds cover. And then he peeks around from the cover and moves position again. And you can see here, he even starts firing through the door at me rather than just running head on. So you can actually have a proper fight, a proper engagement where you're really peeking out from behind corners and getting flanked by the enemy, as you see there. I'm firing through this door so that I don't get caught in a crossfire. And the enemies fire through the doors as well, so you really do end up in this kind of back and forth engagement now. Instead of just an AI running straight at you and you just peppering them with bullets, you can see I'm being shot in the back here. The AI has moved to a different position again. It crossed across the door there, and I don't want to go anywhere near that room. I'm just firing through the door, hoping that I get him. The AI has really been stepped up in this update. Taking a break from some of the new maps then and looking at the rest of the new guns, we have the the Mark 1 carbine here, and this is only available for supporters, I believe. At the moment, if you try and pull this gun out, it won't give you it. You can do it within the weapons editor, but it will pull out a different gun afterwards if you don't have the supporter edition. Same with this shotgun. This is the entryman shotgun. I'm told it's just a reskin of another shotgun. It does look really cool, and it's got a bunch of different attachments you can add onto it. But again, if you try and pull this out and you don't have the supporter edition, you just pull out a different gun. Again, same story with this PFC9 Glock. It is a Glock, it's a reskin, and it's made to look a little bit fancier. If you try and pull this gun out and you don't have the supporter edition, you get given the revolver, the 357 Magnum, and there's no way you can equip this thing. I'm told all these weapons are reskins, so at the end of the day, it just comes down to supporters getting game skins, I guess. But still, I would have liked to see everybody get this kind of stuff, especially after the update being delayed for as long as it was. Moving on from all the doom and gloom though, and moving back to the new maps we've got. This is a map called Ridgeline, and as you can see, it's a lot different to anything else that's in the game. It's quite colourful, it's quite vibrant, it looks very big. It does have some invisible walls in places, so you can't quite go and explore it as much as you would like. But we've got this little hut in the middle here, and we've got someone held up in there with a couple of hostages, and we need to breach in and rescue them. You can see a little bit of the AI in action here. It tried to run around and move around into some cover. A little bit of a glitch in the AI coming up here, so we bust into this room. One of my SWAT team guys finds a guy behind a box. I head over there to give him a little bit of support, and they're just sort of standing there glitched out, having a bit of a pushing match. So I put a shot into him. He looks a bit like a zombie, to be honest, but we put him down anyway. And here's something I think is quite new. I push up to this door, and you'll see what happens here in a minute. I walk through and boom, a grenade goes off or some kind of flashbang. I don't know if that's new. I don't know if it's something I've not encountered before or if it's unique to this map. But that's really cool that the AI can booby trap the doors and make you really have to think about your route. Do you want to just push in there? Do you want to send some of your men first? Do you want to throw a grenade to try and clear something away? It really changes the way you perhaps take a path through a mission. And that's a great addition to the game. And if it isn't an addition, if it's something that's always been there, it's the first time I've came across it, so that's really cool. Now this mission is what they call a white box map. It's a map that's still under development, so it's not completely finished. The lighting isn't finished, the actual decor of the buildings aren't finished, the doors aren't the way they will be. It's just kind of a way that they can block out the map and get it looking semi-decent as the map develops. So this isn't the final version of this map, but it does give you a good idea of what might be coming. The next new white box map on the list is Hospital, and you can see here it's really in its early stages. It's got the labels of what's going to go where, sort of knocking about. That guy just runs straight into me, so the AI running straight at you isn't gone, but it is vastly improved. Now this is another white box map. This is Agency. This one looks a little bit more fleshed out, a little bit more like it's going to be quite a large map. The lighting on it looks great. We push into what looks like a bank here, and people have taken hostages, so we're sort of pushing through these rooms. They're not very furnished, they're not very textured. It's a very early stages white box map, but it looks like it could be very promising. Really good map for sort of hostage rescue, a really good map for barricaded suspects. You can see just how early on it is. It's got writing on the wall of what's going to be plastered on it, so very early on this map. But it's going to be interesting to see what it turns into. It looks like it's got great potential. There are a lot of buildings. You're in the middle of a city. I get ambushed here by this guy. One of the things that really stuck out to me here was, even though this is in the early stage of white box, look what happens if you shoot the tires on these cars. They actually start leaking air and sinking down. So despite the fact that the map is in its early white box stages, they really do have certain elements really polished. Anyway, that's it for this video. There's going to be more Ready or Not content coming soon. Please drop a like on the video. It really helps it in the algorithm. And subscribe if you aren't subscribed. Really helps the channel out. Stay tuned for more Ready or Not content. I'll be exploring more of this update in the coming days. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.